Hello. How are you both? You all
Hello.
right?
Hello.
Good.
We're doing well.
Good. Good. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Do you want to say a little bit about who you are, how you know us, and where you are at the moment?
Yeah. We are John and Debbie Dulle. We have, well, I think we are still members in good standing at Horley Baptist.
You are. You are.
And yeah. Uh, we lived in the UK for 7 years, from 2009 to 2016. And then due to changes in job, we are now in Kyrgyzstan. So the country of Kyrgyzstan, Central Asia, home to about 6 million people thereabout. And I work as, my title is vice president, but I'm also the chief financial officer for a nonprofit that does humanitarian aid, and community development training, as well as community development projects in Kyrgyzstan.
Excellent. And would you say that Kyrgyzstan is culturally very different to the UK?
Very different. Yes, so many differences.
Yeah.
I mean predominantly Muslim culture.
Yeah.
Or nominally Muslim. But we live in the capital city. So it works, I guess, much like medium-sized cities, maybe where people, out and about. A lot of public transportation that gets us around the city. A lot of walking. People are friendly for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
We have a church group here that we're involved with, and a Bible study group that comes out of that we get together with weekly. And yeah.
Excellent. Now, obviously, as a world, we've been in lockdown, but that's varied a lot depending on which country you've been at. What's your experiences been of the COVID situation and lockdown, and how's that affected you and what you can and can't do at the moment?
Our lockdown began March 16th, where they closed all the borders and basically announced that nobody could go to work, nobody could leave their apartments or homes, unless they were going either to the grocer or the pharmacy or to the hospital. So we didn't have a freedom to, say, go out and take long walks or exercise, even if it was just two of us and we were more than 2 meters from the nearest person. They were very strict about that. And when you did go out, you had to pre-plan your route and write it down on a route sheet, because that's also how they were going to, I guess, try to do like the contact, who have you come into contact with, and that type of thing. Where have you been? You have to write the time that you left and the time that you were going to be returning. And police
draw a little map of your route, which streets you were taking, and then things like that.
Yeah. And the police at the very beginning were very strict about it. You had your passport, your residence card, which showed where your physical address was, and then this route sheet. But they really didn't want you out at all.
Right. And there were roadblocks set up. I mean, on the outskirts of the city, but then also like around the central part of the city, which we're just barely inside. So like just the next block over were roadblocks. And so like we didn't drive anywhere. The van sat out for 2.5 months without being driven. I mean, everywhere we went, we walked, which is fairly normal, except like to the office. That office was just outside the roadblock area, so he couldn't go to the office. And wasn't allowed to, even if I guess we could get there. But so that was very different. I mean, we were inside all the time, like you said. I mean, not even allowed really to go out for walks. And of course the kids, the school was closed from that day, March 16th, and so classes the school here did a really good job getting everything online very quickly. So that ended up being okay. I mean, it was, of course, the first 3 or 4 weeks especially was kind of difficult, but our kids also, they're used to being at home because I always homeschooled them before we came here and when we were in the UK. People know that, and so that helped. I think that we're used to being at home all together. Whereas some families who, the dad's at work and the kids are at school and they're only home, maybe a couple of hours in the evenings, it's really different being at home all the time. But for us, we didn't have quite that much of a difficulty in that part of the experience.
So have things changed since they said it was very strict at the beginning? Has lockdown eased?
About 2 weeks ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, they started. Well, yeah, they started phasing in when people could return to work, and so the first phase was okay. Well, we'll allow taxi drivers to begin working so that people can at least travel, to other areas. They still kept the roadblocks up into the city, but they took the roadblocks out from the central section. Then that lasted for a week. And then they had phase 2, which was, okay, we're going to allow businesses that basically only cater to 1 or 2 customers at a time open. And so your salons and nail places could open by appointment only. And
restaurants opened it for delivery.
Restaurants were open for delivery. And then the third phase was, okay, we're going to open it to the business section for certain businesses. And of course, our business wasn't in it. And so we weren't actually until like the last phase. So it's been about 2.5 weeks or so that we've had everything has supposedly opened back up. For over 2 months, pretty much all of our projects came to a grinding halt because you can't do community development if you can't be in community. And so we've finally gotten back to the point where it's okay. Well, now we can go back and we can start some of these projects back up and help the people that we have come to give help to. A consequence of opening back up, though, is the cases of the virus have started going up because people are communal. And so, yes, they are. And the culture here is not one to obey rules anyway. And so, like, road rules are very loose in practice for a lot of people. And just, various things. And so it's like, they've said we can go back to work, therefore we can do all of the other activities that we would normally have done anyways. And so, of course, that is leading to overcrowding on buses, which is, public transportation, that type of thing. And so the cases here of the virus are going up. I think yesterday, the total cases in the country of 3 million, of 6 million, is 3,300 or thereabout total cases cumulative over from the time that it began. And of that, over 2,000 people have recovered completely from it, according to the news. And we've had, I think, 41 people who have passed away from the virus itself.
Which is very low compared to...
Right.
I mean, it's very low compared to...
Right, yeah. Compared to other... Right.
Right, and being the kind of place that it is here, and once you shut down air travel and the borders, it's pretty well contained. I mean, if people can't go anywhere, whereas the UK is a much more international kind of place. But
and they even went and shut down areas like this Bishkek, the city where we live. It was completely shut down, where people from outside couldn't come in without special documents that the government provided. But then between what we would call states or counties, depending on how you define it, they shut those down as well. Due to the increase in virus now, they're talking about maybe re-shutting down that transportation between the counties. And there's been mention of maybe shutting down the city again as far as not allowing new people to come in. And we don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah. So quite a few difficulties, unknowns, a possible reintroducing some of the lockdown restrictions. But what would you say have been some of the good things that have come out of these last few months?
Our time together as family has been really good. Really good.
Yeah. Especially leading up to when Abby and Stacy are about to go off to university. So just having their last few months here, even though, obviously there's difficulties in that. They didn't get to do all of the fun things that you normally would do at the end of in school. But along with that has come really good times just together and a lot of time playing games together and just conversations that wouldn't have happened just because we wouldn't have had as much time together. So that has been a big benefit.
Internationally, a benefit is because it's been a global shutdown. Churches have had to re-examine how they meet as a church. And so this conversation that we're having now would not have happened otherwise. Of course, we would have been there last week everything shut down. But we've had a much longer time of being able to see and interact with HBC via Facebook and the YouTube videos and services and things that have come about has been really encouraging for us as well. Just having it that link that
normally we don't have.
And so we've been very appreciative of that. Now it's unfortunate why we've come to that, but at the same time, selfishly I'm glad it happened. That we get to have these types of services and interactions that we wouldn't otherwise have.
And now you've talked about, you mentioned the two girls going off to uni. So you got quite some life changes happening. So what's the plan? What's happening?
They're set to start in mid-August in Oklahoma at a small public university there, as long as we can get them there.
Right.
Kyrgyzstan keeps changing their thoughts on international travel and when it's going to open up. So we had tickets for a couple of weeks ago that were canceled. We had tickets for a couple of weeks from now that were canceled, and so we changed the day. And so now, we still have tickets for 11 days from now, but now we don't know. And there's a new prime minister as of last week or something, 2 weeks ago. And so the old prime minister said, okay, we're going to open up air travel on this
15th,
day. And then now the new prime minister is saying, oh, no,
it'll be sometime in July.
We can't do that. So it's all very confusing.
Yeah.
So but once we get there, once we can leave, we'll go straight to the States. And and they'll get started in August, and they have friends who are going to be on campus where they are, and it's about a 45-minute drive from my dad's house, and so we're planning on being there with them, at my dad's house for a few months for their first few months, and so that will hopefully make for a good transition for them. So.
Yeah, and the current plan is that Abby is going to study art. And Anastasia is going to study social work or sociology
and cultural studies.
And cultural studies.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. So big changes. Definitely things to pray about, particularly that you can get there in the first place, because that's a bit of an unknown. Yeah, but no.
Your sermon series right now on unknown is very
applicable.
It's very applicable to what we're experiencing and dealing with here.
Well, thank you so much for enlightening us about what life has been like for you for the past few months, and it's been great to have you joining us at our services and writing little comments in the chat section. So that's a real positive, and we do pray for you in these next month or two as hopefully get the girls to the States and with them during that transition.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'd be a good time for
Mhm.
you as a family in terms of seeing old friends and family and having some rest.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Mhm.
our prayers and thoughts are with you. And yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yes. And provided that, our tentative plans might happen, we're hoping, since this year's trip to the UK didn't happen, we're hoping maybe next summer
Hopefully next year.
that we can come all as a family. We'll have Abby and Stacy back with us after their first year of
Mhm.
university, and so we're hoping to make that trip then.
That's great. We would love to see you.
Yeah.